So without recurring income, I literally would have been out of business like a long freaking time ago, right? And recurring income has saved my business so many times. Counting the lawsuits that came, that I've never even started in the first place, but I was involved in, money stolen through fraud, financial institutions gouging as much money as they possibly could from the business. These are just some of the things that can literally put you out of business. It almost put us out of business super fast. So every business goes through its ups and downs, right? It's like, financially speaking, it's like inevitable. And so most new businesses don't have a nest egg saved up, right? Essentially meaning you don't have cash flow, right, coming in when needed. And so if you don't have cash flow coming in, you don't have a nest egg, then you don't have any money to operate your business. And so sometimes there are other things that happen in the business, like lawsuits. When you scale, lawsuits come with it, right? Someone will find something to sue for. There are tons and tons and tons of fraudsters out there. And these same fraudsters can find shady attorneys to sue, right? There's losses, there's fraud. Losses could be something happened to you out of your control. Then there's fraud that, of course, can happen to you out of your control as well. And then you have fines that come in as a result of these various things, right? And these are things that you cannot always control. And so in the payment processing space, all funds go through financial institutions, and those finances can get zapped before you even get to it. And I've only listed just a few things that can absolutely kill your cash flow. And remember, without cash flow, without a nest egg, you basically have no money. And this is how a lot of businesses go out of business, right? And so we went from super low, starting from ground zero, up to doing billions of dollars a year in sales, which is like millions of dollars in income, back down to freaking zero, right? It happens. These are called lows and highs in business, right? Now, most businesses, remember, don't have nest eggs saved up. And so if you don't have like huge savings, other people don't care. Other vendors don't care. The show must go on, as they say, right? So you still have to pay your staff. You still have to pay your vendors. You have to pay, fees like taxes. You have lights, electricity, ads, whatever kind of business you're in, you are going to have fees, right? The show must go on. And here's the other thing you have to remember. As you scale, you're going to come across something called litigators, right? And just the word litigate, first of all, means to bring a lawsuit. And when you have litigators who make money suing people, they find extra things to sue for, whether it be right or wrong, right? It's you're almost going to take a shower sometimes when you're in that type of industry. And then you may need an actual ethical litigator to help you fight against some of these other litigators who just look for reasons to sue. They may know that there's no real case there, but they will sue until you tap out, and sometimes you settle. There's so many different things, right? And lawsuits don't have to, it doesn't mean that they have evidence against you. Sometimes it's on you to prove that you're innocent. You have to spend money to do that, right? So being innocent doesn't necessarily stop lawsuits, right? People say, well, no, I haven't done anything. Well, I'm here to tell you that you can still be sued for sure. And you can be countersued even if you didn't start the lawsuit, right? More on that later. And so in our case, we tried to help clients, right? We tried to help institutions, but we got caught up in the crossfire because, again, litigators don't care. People don't care. At the end of the day, the goal is to get money, right? And so despite the chaos in the payment processing space, we had minimums to hit, right? We had fines to pay. We had dues to pay. Besides payroll internally, besides payroll to the 1099s, we still had a ton of fees to pay, right? And in payments, we have registration fees. Like I can go on and on about all the different things that out of your control if you're in a particular industry. Let's say you're in the insurance industry, right? You have to pay certain fees. You have to pay registration fees there. If you have some kind of certification, you have to pay fees to keep that up, right? You could be a truck driver. You have to pay fees to keep that up. You have to pay gas. There's certain things out of your control that you must pay. And now, if you're in the financial space, like we're in the payment space, funds should go through the bank first. Without me saying exactly what happened or what happens, think about this. If you have to get paid by the money going to your friend first, right? Then it goes to their friend, and then it comes to you. How often do you think you're going to get 100% of that income? Now, just based upon being in business, you should never be getting 100% of it because other people have to win in order for you to win, right? But think about that for a second. What percentage do you think you'd get by the time it goes through your one friend, through your second friend, and then it gets to you? And people see this money coming through. There's going to be all kinds of reasons and fees to make that particular amount that you get a lot less, okay? And so you have to think about that, right? Things happen. And these, again, are just a few things that can kill your cash flow. So there's a mirage of seen and unforeseen things that happens to your business. It happened to our business, right? And this is for most businesses out there, right? No matter how smart you are, no matter how organized you are, there's going to be things that happen that you know is coming, and there's going to be things happening that you don't know. And so we had our funds taken to cover, institutional fees, to be honest with you, before we even got it. Wasn't even expecting it. Legal fees have to be paid first, right? Let's say you're a lawyer or something like that, right? Maybe they pay, bar association fees or something like that. Or maybe you have a liquor license, you have to keep that up. Maybe you have a POS system. Like, there's so many different, you have a dental organization or orthodontic organization. There's certain fees that you must pay. You must, maybe you're a restaurant or something like that. You have to keep up because there's going to be inspections that come by. You have to keep up with these things, right? There's no way around it. And so all these fees come out first. Now, remember, you have internal, at one point it was so tough. We had internal payroll, right? And I didn't know how we're going to make our internal payroll. It was so bad. It was so stressful. It was impossible. And then we had to make 1099 payroll, right? These people earn the money and they want their money regardless to what you are going through in your business, right? It was so difficult, so stressful. It was like, the walls are just freaking closing in on me. And I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars in payroll internally, as well as to 1099, not even including vendors, right? And here's the thing, no one gives a hoot about what you're going through. I don't care if it's family, it could be the nicest person in your business. They're all rah-rah, they're for you. It could be partners that you started to work with. They don't freaking care. I hate to say it like that, but it is the ugly truth of the matter. They don't give a doom about what you're going through, because they have bills to pay, and their families, their children, their wives, their husbands, their vendors, their car notes, their mortgages don't give a hoot about what they're going through. So it kind of trickles down from the top. And when I say stressful, oh my God, this is so stressful. Can you imagine being so stressed out that you just get used to being stressed out, right? And maybe, as a matter of fact, I stopped calling it stress. It's just a part of the business. And when I say unforeseen things happening all the freaking time, you bring on clients who you think they're ethical, you think they're legit, but a lot of times they're all about getting paid, and they will cut corners that burn you, that could cause you fines, that could cause you a lot of trouble, that hurt you financially, and they just move on. They close out their bank account or they get their money and they just move on to the next, because their whole goal is, how much money can I get? And I was just wondering so many times, how do we freaking stay in business? If we can't pay our bills, how are we going to stay in business? If we can't make our internal payroll, if we can't make our 1099 payroll, if we can't pay the car brand fees, if we can't pay the network fees, if we can't pay the bank fees, right? If we can't pay our attorney fees, then we just automatically lose, and people get judgments and defaults, even though they may be 100% guilty. But just because you tap out or you can't continue to pay legal bills, a lot of times you lose. You look at the prisons today like this, unfortunately, they're filled with people who didn't have proper representation, right? It's super important to understand how stressful I was, or how stressed out I was, and how stressed out business owners are when they don't have savings and when they don't have cash flow, or it's just almost impossible to thrive or to exist. Not even to thrive, just to stay in business, right? Several months we had no income coming in, period. Can you imagine that? Where you have no new income coming in. Let me rephrase, no new income coming in, but you have all these bills, right? You have inflation, all this stuff, right? Vendors all want their money, right? Your staff, remember, they want their money. I'm talking about what happened to us. Our staff wanted their money to be paid because they have bills. And then the 1099s always want their money regardless of what's going on as well, right? The attorneys wanted their money. Financial institutions, right or wrong, they wanted their money. So can you imagine the freaking stress? I'm trying to be dramatic just so that I can explain how stressful that was, how stressful that is. And so if you're going through that, I can only freaking imagine. And especially when you live in check to check, not just as a staff member, but as a business. When COVID hit, I remember reading about some restaurants who were, multi-million-dollar restaurants who couldn't survive for 2 months because no new income was coming in. So here's the thing, you need predictable income. You need income that's reliable, right? What do I mean by that? Recurring income allowed us to stay in business. And in addition to that, the recurring income is what gives your business a higher valuation. You look at some of these software companies, it's not just because they have nice software, it's because of the recurring income coming in as a result. So the recurring income from repeat business is what allowed us to stay in business, because in some cases we weren't even allowed to bring in new business. Again, unforeseen things totally out of our control. So make sure you get yourself some recurring income, some predictable income, some reliable income. If you like this video, share it, comment, and I hope to see you soon. Be good.